What's going on, everybody? We are here at Red Bull Ring in the GT4 for week 5 of the Fixed Series track guides. So, same as always, we're in the Merc, fixed setup. We'll give you the walkthrough first and then a hot lap at the end, so we'll get straight into it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope everybody's racing's been going well so far this season. Looking forward to bringing you guys this one. This track's pretty fun actually in these cars. So as you're heading up the hill towards turn 1, I set myself up with 2 wheels just over the back of the curb. Now be very careful because it all depends on where you place your right side tyres will determine if you're getting off track. If you are too much on that curb, you will catch it. But I find if you can just get your lefts just over the back of the curb, you're usually pretty good. You just got to be careful when you do brake. Sometimes it can feel a little bit uncomfortable on the curb, but you do actually use quite a bit of curb for braking here. So 100 meter board or just before it to get yourself set up for turn 1. It's a bit of a unique corner. You can be second or third depending on how late you brake. Preferably, I like third because you can sort of follow the car more, but it really just depends on if you've broken that a little bit later, you might need second gear just to help the car to rotate a little bit more. So sort of try it out for yourselves. Third gear you will carry more speed, but second will help if you're just struggling with a little bit of mid-corner rotation. It'll just help to rotate the car a little bit. So once you get to the white line across the track near the pit entry, that's where I start to pretty much get myself ready to start turning the car at the corner. And then there's nothing really to signify the turn in. You want to turn in before the end of the curb, so you want to sort of be, I guess, by the red, the last red line on the curb. You kind of want to be nearly in that center of the road. Start to turn the car at the corner. Use a fair bit of curb, but watch the yellow part of it. Just sort of get it to rotate. And then you want to try and get the car to square up as quickly as possible so you can get to 100% throttle. But you can run the car out and actually get it nearly on that curb, like on the yellow sausage part of the curb. So use all that track width. Up through the gears. I set myself up on the right hand side of the track going up the hill. That way once we get under that sign, I'm nice and square on the left to brake nice and deep. So start to turn the car at the corner, square it up, 100 meter board again on the curb, brake back to first gear. I find it just gives you extra rotation and it'll just help to square the car up quicker and then be able to pick the throttle up at full noise. So end of the curb, turn the car in at the corner. You want to clip the curb, but on the back half of the curb. So, like, you sort of aim for the yellow bit, but you don't actually fully lock the wheel in until you just passed it. That should square you up. You should be able to pick the throttle up quite aggressively out of the corner because there is that camber up the hill as well. So you want to get that extra little bit of drive. Get the car out to the outside curb, square the wheel up as much as possible, and then start carrying the speed up through the gears again. Up to 5th. You're looking for the 100 meter board. Same again, I'm in the middle of the road, and then I set myself up straight on the curb. 100 meter board, brake, back to second gear. Now this one's pretty tricky. It can sort of catch you out. So turn in at the end of the last red cube on the curbing. Get the car to rotate in. Then you want to trail the brake to the apex, and you want to get on the curb just by the end of the curb. Then from that point, pick the throttle up, let the car track. I don't go right to the curb because I kind of see it counterproductive, but I'm pretty close to it. You know what I mean? Like it's not. If you can carry that extra little bit of speed and make it to the curb, that's great, but you don't want to just go out there for the sake of going out there because you're only going to have to come back across to the right-hand side anyway. So sort of there's a fine line between how much speed you're carrying and if you're just using extra track for the sake of using extra track. As you come down here, fourth gear, back to third at the 50-metre board and turn the car in late. So let the car run quite deep in at the end of the curb, turn the car in. Let the car rotate up over the curb. Once you're over the curb, pick the throttle up. The car's going to push pretty drastically here with understeer. But if you're on the curb, it will help rotate the car. You're going to get to about this point, so the car's going to be over the back of the curb, but you'll be in play as long as your left-hand wheels are still inside the white line. At the end of this curb, I go to fourth and then back to third. You can run third out. I just find it's a little bit too short, so back to third at the end of the curb. Nice brake marker. And then get the car back in as early as possible because you want to get on this curb as early as possible so you can pick the throttle up as straight away. So then the car's going to push a little tiny bit off the curb. Use all this curb here. And then run it up through the gears. Up to fifth gear again. You're looking for the 50-metre board on this one. I brake just before it, so it's about 60 metres. So I'm braking about here for it. So fifth back to fourth. Turn the car in at fourth quite early. Get the car up on the curb. That'll help it rotate. As it comes off, it should land quite nicely. Let the car track all the way out. Use all this exit curb here. As long as you've got your left-hand wheels inside these white parts, so see how the curb's got like the white markings going towards the right, as long as you've got it sort of on that point, you won't get an off-track. If you cross that bit, that's where you're going to get an off-track. So fourth gear, brake at the start of this little red and white curb on the inside as your sort of the old pit road marker, or the old pit lane entry, and then that's your signal to brake. Down to third gear, turn the car in quite aggressively into the corner. You don't want to hit that yellow curb, but you want to get it on the curb as much as possible. Let the car track out nice and wide. Run it out over the back of this curb here. And there you go, guys. That is your walkthrough lap of Red Bull Ring in the GT4. And we will give you a hot lap now and enjoy your week. And that, guys, is the lap round Red Bull Ring in the GT4. Good luck for this week's racing.